Once upon a time, in the magical kingdom of Enchantia, Princess Sophia was eagerly looking forward to the beginning of autumn. The air was crisp, the leaves were turning vibrant shades of orange and gold, and the royal orchard was brimming with apples of all shapes, sizes, and colors. This was Sophia's favorite time of year because it meant one thing: apple picking. Early one morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon and cast a golden light over the palace, Sophia jumped out of bed with excitement. She had been planning this day for weeks. She quickly dressed in her favorite purple dress and rushed to the kitchen, where Chef André was busy preparing breakfast. "Good morning, Sophia," Chef André greeted her with a warm smile. "You seem extra excited today." "I am," Sophia grinned. "It's apple picking day. I'm going to the orchard to gather apples for our annual autumn feast." Chef André chuckled. "I heard about that. You're in charge of finding the best apples for my famous apple pie, aren't you?" Sophia nodded eagerly. "I can't wait, and I'm bringing some friends along to help." After breakfast, Sophia made her way to the courtyard, where her best friends, Amber, James, and Clover the bunny, were waiting. Amber, Sophia's older sister, wore a beautiful autumn-inspired gown, while James, Sophia's playful younger brother, was ready for a fun day of adventure. Clover, as usual, looked a little sleepy but was always up for a snack. "Are you ready for the best apple-picking adventure ever?" Sophia asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You bet," James shouted, already running ahead. Amber, always one for style, gracefully followed. "I hope we can find the sweetest apples. I heard they're perfect for caramel dipping." Sophia smiled as she and Clover hurried to catch up. "Don't worry, Amber, we'll find the best apples in the whole orchard." Together, they made their way to the royal orchard, a vast, beautiful space filled with rows and rows of apple trees. The trees were heavy with bright red, green, and golden apples, and the sweet smell of ripe fruit filled the air. The sight was breathtaking. Clover sniffed the air and hopped around excitedly. "I don't know about you, but I'm ready to test some apples." Sophia giggled and reached up to pluck a shiny red apple from a nearby branch. "Here you go, Clover." As Clover happily munched on the apple, Sophia and her friends began their apple-picking adventure. They each carried woven baskets, carefully selecting the juiciest apples they could find. "We should have a contest to see who can pick the most apples," James suggested, already climbing one of the trees to reach the higher branches. Amber, who preferred to keep her feet on the ground, smiled. "I think I'll stick to the lower branches. I don't want to get my dress dirty." Sophia laughed. "Why don't we just focus on picking the best apples? We'll need plenty for the feast tonight." As the friends wandered through the orchard, they laughed, chatted, and occasionally munched on apples. Sophia loved spending time with her siblings and Clover in the peaceful orchard. It was the perfect autumn day. Just as they were about to move to another row of trees, Sophia noticed something sparkling in the distance. Her curiosity piqued, she turned to her friends. "Did you see that?" James, always ready for an adventure, jumped down from the tree he was in. "See what? There's something sparkling over there," Sophia said, pointing toward a small, hidden part of the orchard. Amber raised an eyebrow. "Maybe it's just the sunlight on the apples." But Sophia shook her head. "No, it looked different. Let's go check it out." With her friends following close behind, Sophia made her way toward the sparkling light. As they got closer, they saw a small, hidden grove tucked away at the far end of the orchard. The trees in this part of the orchard were taller, and their apples glowed with a soft, magical light. "Whoa," James exclaimed, "I've never seen apples like these before." Sophia's eyes widened in wonder. "They're magical." Clover sniffed one of the glowing apples. "Smells normal to me, but I bet they taste amazing." Sophia carefully picked one of the glowing apples and held it in her hands. As she did, a soft breeze rustled through the leaves, and a gentle voice filled the air. "Thank you for finding my apples." Startled, the group looked around, but no one was there. "Who said that?" Amber asked, her eyes wide. "I did," the voice replied. And to their surprise, a small, glowing fairy appeared, hovering just above the trees. She had delicate wings that shimmered like rainbows, and her dress was made of leaves and petals. Sophia smiled in awe. "Who are you?" "I'm Maple, the orchard fairy," the fairy said with a twinkle in her eye. "These apples are enchanted, and they help protect the orchard." James looked impressed. "Wow, enchanted apples. What do they do?" Maple fluttered down to their level and explained, "These apples are special. They're filled with magic that keeps the orchard healthy and full of fruit all year round. But only kind and caring people can find them." Sophia blushed. "We didn't mean to disturb your magic grove. We were just curious." Maple smiled warmly. "It's all right, Sophia, I'm glad you found it. And since you've been so kind to the orchard, I'd like to give you something special." With a wave of her tiny hand, Maple enchanted the basket of apples that Sofia and her friends had collected. The apples sparkled for a moment, then returned to normal. These apples will now be the sweetest and juiciest in the entire kingdom, Maple said. They'll make your feast extra special. Sofia beamed. Thank you, Maple. We'll make sure to share them with everyone at the feast. Maple nodded, and with a swirl of leaves and sparkles, she disappeared back into the trees. Still amazed by what had just happened, Sofia and her friends gathered the last of the magical apples and returned to the palace. The sun was beginning to set, and the warm glow of the evening made the palace look even more enchanting. Back at the palace, Chef André was waiting eagerly for the apples. Ah, you're back just in time. Did you find the best apples? Sofia handed him the basket with a smile. Not just the best, Chef André, the most magical apples. Chef André looked confused, but when he took a bite of one of the apples, his eyes lit up. These are incredible. These will make the most delicious pie the kingdom has ever seen. As the royal feast began that evening, the grand dining hall was filled with the delicious aroma of apple pie, apple tarts, and even caramel-dipped apples. The whole kingdom gathered to celebrate the arrival of autumn, and the feast was a huge success. Everyone marveled at how sweet and juicy the apples were, and Sofia couldn't help but smile, knowing the secret of the enchanted orchard. After the feast, as the stars twinkled above the palace, Sofia, Amber, James, and Clover sat together by the grand fountain, enjoying the cool autumn night. Today was amazing, Sofia said, gazing up at the stars. I'll never forget our apple-picking adventure. James grinned, especially the part with the enchanted apples and the fairy. Amber smiled softly. I'm just glad we found the sweetest apples for the feast. Clover yawned, feeling full from all the snacks. I think I'm going to dream about apples tonight. Sofia laughed and looked at her friends. I'm so glad we got to share this adventure together. I can't wait to see what our next one will be. And with that, the friends sat in peaceful silence, knowing that no matter what adventures lay ahead, they would always have each other, and the magical memories of their apple-picking day.